Omen v'chelabar.
So Vav Aleph. Very nice. That has to do with Rosh Hashanah. Well, yesterday also had to do with Rosh Hashanah, and today continues. The Gemara starts on top of Vav Aleph. Yesterday was a sugya about Beitza of Nolga Bazeh, Muteras Bazeh, and the main sugya. Yeah, go ahead, sure. And the issue was that we look at Rosh Hashanah different than other Yantav Sheni. In Chostar, when they have 2 days of Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, so we look at it like 2 separate days, and one day is the holy, and one day is the weekday. We don't know which one it is in Choslar, but only one of them is really the holy one. And on Rosh Hashanah, we don't look at it like that because there's also a possibility that both days are holy, and that would have been in times of the Beis Hamikdash when the Eidim came after Mincha, so we didn't accept them. And tomorrow is going to be the Yantif, but they still made the rest of the day should continue to be Yantif because it shouldn't be a zilzal. So therefore, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are considered a Yom HaRicha, one long day, and that's why it doesn't help to Beitz Yishnol the Bazeh is not going to be put on the second day because it's one long day. Also, the application will be to make Erev Tchumen in 2 different directions, or Tevel. You can't be Mafresh Tevel for one day for the other day because it's all one long day. The Gemara continues about the subject of Yantav Sheni and Rosh Hashanah. Amar Rava, mace, a dead man that has to be taken care of to bury him. What do you do on Yantav? On Shabbos and Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to do anything. But on Yantav, there are kulas. Yantav Rishon, Yisashka Bo Amamim. On the first day of Yantav, so Goyim may take care of him. That means that usually Amir Lakum, Amir Lagoy, you're not allowed to tell a guy to do malacha for you. But for the necessity of a mace, covered a mace, you're allowed to, and the Goyim are the ones who are going to do all of the whatever is necessary to dig the grave, to carry him, whatever is necessary to do. So the Goyim do it. Mace, but Yantav Sheni, but on Yantav Sheni is even more lenient, which means Yantav Sheni is in Chuslaras. When they have Pesach, second day of Pesach, second day of Shavuos, second day of Sukkot. So, or the last day, Yantav Achron. So he's asking Yisrael, even Jews are allowed to do malacha. So it's mutter for a Jew to do malacha for a mace and Yantav Sheni. And over here we say that Rosh Hashanah is not different, and it's also going to be just as lenient on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Also, Jews are allowed to do malacha to take care of the mace, and that's halacha l'maisa. That's what's done.
Really? So if somebody dies, let's say
on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, so then they have the levaya, and who does the malacha? So on the first day of Yom Tov, going to the malacha. On the second day of Yom Tov, then Jews do the malacha.
Right, so we try very.
So Rebbe, is this teaching the koyak of kavod ames that it also matters by Rosh Hashanah?
Yes, it means what does it mean? That I guess you could say that kavod ames, the whole thing is a kula. That's why you're allowed to tell goyim also on Yantif Rishon, but the whole Amir Lakum is Rabbanan, and then to do malacha on Yantif Sheni, that's also a kula for kavod ames. That on a regular second day of Pesach, second day of Shavuos, that also it's a kula of kavod ames that you're allowed to do. Jews are allowed to do malacha because Yantif Sheni is Rabbanan, and I was saying the second day of Yantif of Rosh Hashanah is also Rabbanan, even though we give it a din of kedusha achas, but the second day is still more Rabbanan, and therefore it is mutter that goyim. Jews should do malacha for the mace on Rosh Hashanah. Mashen came to Beitza. If the egg was born on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, it's usher to eat on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. But as far as the dead man, we'll make it on the second day of Rosh Hashanah more than on the first day. And even though the first day we're not allowed to do with Jews, the second day you could, just like a regular Yom Tov Sheni. The Gemara has a few days. That's the halacha, by the way. The Gemara has a few lines that go back to Beitza, which could have been really could have been even yesterday already on the sugya of Beitza, nothing to do with mace. Question yesterday was maybe it's mutter after the korban, and then they do accept Eidim from Rebbe Echlan ben Zakkai. That whole sugya yesterday is only dealing after the korban. But otherwise, everybody agreed that Beitz Yishnol the Bazeh Asur Bazeh is Kedusha Achas. It's Kedusha Achas. Not everybody, but at least the Rav and Shmuel said that then Rosh Hashanah is considered Kedusha Achas. But he argues, and he says that it's mutter. Beitz Yishnol the first day of Rosh Hashanah is mutter on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. What's the chash? It's the second day of Yom Tov because Elul became 30 days. Elul is never 30 days. most Rav himself said it, even though Rav held Beis Yishnol is Asa. But Rav said historically, most Ezra from Ezra. It happened by Ezra's time. Rashi says that did happen. That Elul was 30 days, but since then it's never happened. And Rashi says even though the story was that they didn't come till Mincha Lamala and they did make a second day, but it doesn't happen. Edom always come and Edom always came. So that's the end of the Gemara, and it is a bit interesting. End of the Gemara of Nardoi. It's interesting because his reasoning would be a reason why you shouldn't have Yontif Sheni at all. If you have such a big chazaka that Elul is always 29 days, and you know exactly when Rosh Hashanah is, no reason to be choshish that Elul was 30 days and Rosh Hashanah is the next day. So then he shouldn't have second day of Rosh Hashanah at all. The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says there is a second day of Rosh Hashanah, just we're not going to make it Kedusha Achas. So he's not really explaining what the Lomdus is. I mean, I guess he explained it. I don't understand it. That the fact that it never happens is not a reason that we're not going to make the second day. We'll make a second day, but we're not going to make it Kedusha Achas. And therefore, you could be making Beis Yishnol Bazeh. We look at the second day more like a weekday, and you'd be allowed to eat the egg on the second day. We don't pass it like that. We pass in that Beis Yishnol Bazeh is also on the second day, but we do pass what the Gemara said before, that as far as Mace, the second day is more lenient and you're allowed to do malacha. Even Jews could do malacha to take care of the mace on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara continues about this halacha about the mace. Omar Mazutra, lo moran ella dishtohi. This kula that on Yontif Sheni you're allowed to do malacha. Even Jews could do malacha is only if the mace has been waiting around. That means that he's masriach. That if you leave the mace around, so then it starts to a stench and it's covered on mace. So then we'll make it that Jews should be able to do malacha. If it's not taking so much time and you can wait till tonight, don't do malacha, wait till the night and then do malacha matzah yantiv. B means it's bedocha. Means we permit Jews to do it, but only if it's necessary. If it's not necessary, then don't do it. But the Rashi says no. The Rashi even if there's no problem, it hasn't been waiting, and we could afford to wait till the night. We don't. We do it on yantiv, even though there's not a big reason to. My time, yantiv sheni lagabi meis kechol shavir banan. Yantiv sheni, as far as the mace goes, is considered a weekday, and he proves it. Afilu l'megas doesn't prove it, but he shows how extreme it is. Afilu l'megas like lima or l'megas like asa. Even to cut a garment means to make tachrichin for him, which is not. And Rashi says even if he has tachrichin, he has the basic necessities, but you want to make fancier clothing or make us like asa to cut hadassim. They used to put hadassim by the mace, and it's not necessary just to cover the mace, the extra cover the mace. Also, you're allowed to do that. That means that we consider it a weekday, not only the basic necessities of digging the grave and carrying him and making tachrichim, even anything which is tosefet is also mutar. So therefore, also to bury him on the same day, even though it's not necessary, you could have waited until the next day. You don't wait, and you do it also, and that's how we pass. We pass like Rashi that Yom Tov Sheni is considered a whole weekday, no hesitation, even to do extras. You're allowed to do on Yom Tov Sheni, and therefore Jews are allowed to do malacha on Yom Tov Sheni, even though it's possible to wait until after Yom Tov. I did notice a Mishnah Berurah that I think talks about that if he died on the first day, and the relatives would rather not have goyim carrying him, and they'd rather wait till the second day. So that's not so simple. On the first day, if he died on the first day of Rosh Hashanah or Yantif, and you can have goyim take care of him, so it's not so simple to push it off to the second day in order that Jews should do it, even though they'd rather Jews should do it. But then you're doing malacha for Jews with the Jews. If to cover the mace, yes, but they cover the mace that Jews should be taking care of him instead of goyim burying him. They also mean well. But I think the Mishnah Berurah is not so happy about that. If he died on the first day, so do it on the first day with the goyim. If he died on the second day, so then they're allowed to do it with these Jews. But it should never come up. But I think some poskim are making even in that case also to push him off to the next day. But the Gemara doesn't say that. Okay, that's the end of the halachos about mace. The Gemara says a new story now. It starts here with Ravina. Top line, Ravina. Have a Yosef Kamed Ravashi. They say Ravashi. Ravina was in front of Ravashi. Ravashi was the Rebbe, it seems, or maybe bigger than Ravina. And it was 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. We'll see soon that it was Thursday, Friday. It was on the Thursday. And he saw Ravashi was sad. Ravina saw Ravashi was sad on Rosh Hashanah. I said, why are you sad? So just to point out that the Gemara says you're not supposed to be sad on Rosh Hashanah. It's not a day to be sad. The Pasuk says so. Here also, the Gemara says, so somebody said, so you have to, if somebody thinks that the whole Rosh Hashanah is just sitting in the courtroom, so we wouldn't ask somebody in the courtroom over there why you said. You understand why you said. because he's waiting for the verdict. So it seems Rosh Hashanah is not that. Rosh Hashanah is something much bigger. That's a reason to be happy on Rosh Hashanah. So he said, why is the Rebbe sad? I'm late. The law is Erev Tavshilin because I forgot to make Erev Tavshilin. Nothing to do with the point of Rosh Hashanah. Not because it was 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, Thursday, Friday. That's going to be Shabbos. He should have made Erev Tavshilin before Thursday in order to be able to cook from Friday to Shabbos, and he forgot. So he's not going to have food for Shabbos or hot food. Amalei. So he said, what's the problem? Make Erev Tavshilin now. So this is a very interesting chiddush that if you have 2 days of Yom Tov, Thursday and Friday, so you're allowed to make a Erev Tavshilin on the first day with a Tanai. The same way we said Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, that it's all a question. One day is week, one day is Kodesh, one day is Chol. You just don't know which day it is. So you're allowed to make Erev Tavshilin. The same way we said that Beit Shnoda was Mutaras was, or you can make Erev Tchum in 2 different directions. Or if you have Tevel, you could mafish Maestros and Maestros one day with a Tanai. So the same thing on Thursday. It comes in Chutz La'aretz. So this is on Chutz La'aretz. We'll see soon about Rosh Hashanah. But in Chutz La'aretz, if you have 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and you forgot to make Erev Tavshilin before Thursday, so you make the Erev Tavshilin on Thursday, and you say, if today is a weekday, I'm making Erev Tavshilin. If today is Yom Tov, I'm not doing anything, but I don't mean anything. And then the next day, you let him cook already, because if the second day is Rosh Hashanah, so yesterday you made Erev Tavshilin on Thursday, and if Thursday was the Yom Tov, was Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, so then Friday is not Yom Tov. You allowed to do malacha. So Robert said you have the same mitzvah of every Yom Tov that you're allowed to make it tonight and make Erev Tavshilin on the first day of Yom Tov.
But you can't do it on the second.
You can't, right. Second day, yeah. If you didn't remember till the second day, then it's forgotten. But if you remember on the first day, you could. I'm a late. We lost my idna. So we said to Rav Ashi, so make Erev Tavshilin now on Thursday. Milo I'm a Rava. When you had the Erev Tavshilin Yom Tov l'Chabero, Master didn't Rava say that you're allowed to make Erev Tavshilin on Yom Tov on the first day and make it tonight. That if today's Yom Tov,
Call 911.
if today is Yom Tov, I am not making Erev Tavshilin. If today is a week, I'm making Erev Tavshilin.
No, this week. First week. Yeah, but your Abbott, you're allowed to go out.
We're definitely not allowed.
Money, keep it.
Keep living. How old is Nancy? I couldn't live. 11. Like 100 years old.
No, it's 77.
Reuben, it was really too bad he didn't make it.
He wanted
It was
to
really
come.
too bad he didn't make it.
He wanted to come. His bar mitzvah. He really wanted to come.
I don't believe it. A lot of people want it.
Okay. So what it is. Okay, so Rava said that a person can make a Tanai on a 2-day Yom Tov, make Erev Tavshilin, that a Tanai, that if today's a weekday, is I make Erev Tavshilin, if today's a Yom Tov, I didn't say anything, and then the next day I'm allowed to do Malacha. Amalei, that's only Yom Tov Sheni, that's not Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is Kedusha Achas. Amalei, Ahmed, Rava, B'Shnei Yom Tov Shalgal, it's only on Chutz La'aretz when you have 2 days of Yom Tov. So one day is Yom Tov, one day is a weekday. But B'Shnei Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah Miyama, no. That it's considered Yom Aricha. It's considered one long day. Both days are holy. But he asked him, Nardoi, we have it on top of the page, Nardoi holds that even by an egg, he hold that it's called Shtei Kedushos. Nardoi said on top of the page that an egg is mutter because you didn't say it's considered 2 days. He said, we don't pass like that. I'm a of Mordechai. So Mordechai was a Talmud of Rav Ashi. He was there also, and he spoke up in front of Ravina to tell him that's not a kasha on the Rebbe. Rav Ashi told me openly that he doesn't hold of an Adai. He holds like Rav and Shmuel, everybody else, that it is Aser. So that's how we pass him, that Shtei Kedusha, so therefore it's Aser, a Beitza, Shinolda on the first day is Aser on the second day, and all these applications here also about making Erev Tavshilin, you can't do it on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is considered one long day. The Gemara said at the top that as far as Mace, it is mutter on Yom Tov Sheni.
They didn't have, supposedly now, everybody, but never who makes,
So the one talks about that somebody, if he made Erev Tavshilin for other people, also works. The Gemara says that nowadays also that people, the Rav makes it for the whole city, but the Gemara talks about you're not allowed to rely on that. And only one time, something like that. If a person always relies on that, then we'll have later on the Masechta, we'll get to that. But you're right. Here the case was that he was the Rav, maybe. He was so he don't know made for him. Okay. The Gemara continues. Itmar, new sugya. So we finished the sugya about Beis Shnoda, and we came out Beis Shnoda beyond the also like this Hillel. We had 4 reasons in the beginning of the Masechta, and now we're going on to another subject. Itmar, not that an egg was born, but the chick came out of the egg. That happens 21 days later. That's the point. That's the biology. That egg, it takes one day for it to come out of the whole system from the ovulation until it's born. It takes about a day. And as far as once it's born, once the egg is laid, it takes 21 days until the chick hatches from there. So here the case is that the chick hatched on Yontif. Are you allowed to eat the chick? We're going to see soon on Amud Beis, there's a subject about, we had mentioned a couple of days ago also, that maybe you're not allowed to eat it until it opens up its eyes. In the beginning, when the chick is born, so it has closed eyes, maybe it's considered a sheretz at that time, and you're not allowed to eat it yet. And that's going to be machlokas. We'll see a little bit later about that. But here, for all assumption, you're allowed to shecht it. Once it's born, and maybe it opened up its eyes already, and you'll be allowed to shecht it on Yontif. What's the issue? The issue is when Yontif came in, it was a chick inside the egg, and you weren't allowed to eat it. So it was muktzah. When Yontif came in, it was muktzah. So we know the klal. If when the Yontif came in, it was muktzah, it should muktzah the whole day, even though now it's edible, but it's muktzah. That's the question. So the Mishnah is talking about Beis Yisrael the Yontif. You want to eat the egg, and here the case is that the chick was hatched on Yontif. Are you allowed to eat it? If Rav says Aser, Shmuel or Rav Yochanan says that it's mutter. So Rav is right. Rav Aser because muktzah. When Yontif came in, it was only a chick inside the egg. You're not allowed to eat it. So it's muktzah the whole day. Why is that? So a new svara, since it permits itself to be shechted. So Rashi explains that as long as the chick is inside the egg, there's no way to eat it. You can't shecht it. And once it comes out, now you're allowed to shecht it. So the same way that isser goes off, the isser of eating it unshechted is the isser comes off because when it's born, now you're allowed to shecht it. So too, the isser of muktzah also goes off. Rashi calls it a migu. That with one isser goes off, the other isser also goes off. I can't say I understand it, but that's the svara of migu, that if one isser goes off, the other isser will also go off. And it's true, it was muktzah, but now that by being born, the possibility to shecht it now takes effect. So also the muktzah also goes off. So machlokas if the egg is muktzah or not.
Sorry, are we talking about the afrach here?
We're talking about the afrach. Yes, the chick that hatched out of the egg.
And if its eyes are closed, you can shecht it?
So that's the machlokas we're going to see soon. For all practical purposes here, we'll say that its eyes are open.
Okay.
And we'll see soon that some hold that it's mutter even if the eyes are closed. That's going to be a sugi coming up in Amud Beis. Taisvus over here says that just to avoid this issue, we can say that here it's talking about that the eyes happen to be opened also.
Okay, it just seems to me that if there was a problem with the eyes closed, okay, never mind.
So it means whenever when it opens up the eyes, the same. So there won't be the hatching when the eyes get open, and that makes it mutter to be shechted. Also, the muktzah goes off also. Whatever svara about migu that we say when the shechita becomes permissible, so also the Issa Muktzah goes off. That was the svara of Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan. Rav doesn't hold of it, so he says that it's Muktzah. When Yontif came in, it was impossible to eat, so it's Muktzah, so therefore the whole Yontif is Muktzah. Amri le Rav Kana Rav Asi le Rav. Rav Kana Rav Asi asked Rav, what's going to be the din if a calf was born? Tell him we spoke about the egg being born and then the chick hatching out of the egg. How about animal that a calf was born from his mother cow? Are you allowed to eat it on Yontif? Yes, you're allowed to shech the egel and eat it on Yontif. Why should you be allowed to? When Yontif came in, you weren't able to eat it. It was inside his mother's stomach. So it should have been muktzah. Since when the Yontif came in, this calf was inaccessible and it was muktzah. So it should be mutter us and the rest of the Yontif. And it's not true. Everyone knows that you're allowed to eat the calf which was born on Yontif. So he said, no, that's not a kasha at all. It was accessible even when Yontif came in. It was muchan. Muchan is the opposite of muktzah. It was prepared to be eaten together with its mother. B'shchita means that you could have shechted the mother and you'd be allowed to eat the uber inside. The pregnant mother, when you shecht it, you're allowed to eat it and also the child that's inside. So it's not true. Your assumption that when the Yontif came in, the calf was not born yet. There was no way to eat it. It's not true. You could have eaten whatever you wanted to. You shecht the mother and you're allowed to eat the whole thing with the baby inside. So it's not muktzah. But he asked him a kasha, what if the mother's a treifa? And you're not allowed to eat the mother. And she would have shechted the mother when the Yontif came in, you wouldn't be allowed. It's not a shechita which permits to eat the baby inside. And therefore, you're going to say that it was muktzah when Yontif came in. But when the calf is born on Yontif, you are allowed to eat it. You also agree that you're allowed to eat it. How come? If you say that the egg that hatched is muktzah because when Yontif came in, the egg was muktzah, so too, this treifa was muktzah. You couldn't shech the mother. And now, when the calf is born, you do eat the calf. Why? Say that it's muktzah because Yontif came in, it wasn't accessible to eat. Shasik Rav didn't have an answer to that question. He seemed to be stumped. That according to him, that chick that hatches out of the egg is muktzah, so too the calf, which is born from a mother treifa, also should be muktzah. But Rabbah or Rav Yosef came to support the answer to the question. Rabbah, we think Rav Yosef, why was he quiet? The simple answer. He could have answered that even the mother treifa also is ready to be shechted and used, not to be eaten. You can eat a treifa, but the dogs can eat a treifa. So when Yantiv came in, what's the treifa designated to be? To be dog food. They're not going to shecht it for a person because it's also to eat, but they're going to shecht it for the dogs, and that's dog food. The treifa could be dog food, and therefore, when the calf is born, you didn't shecht it. You could have shechted it. So it's called that it's accessible. It's not muktzah. You could have shechted it for the dogs, and then it would have been dog food, the mother, the baby. So that's considered not muktzah. It wasn't set aside not to be used. You could have used it. So too, if you didn't shecht it and the egel was born, the calf was born, you're allowed to eat it now. When Yantiv came in, it was dog food, and now it became human food.
A treifa, let's say during the week. A treifa, you have to shecht, or you could just shoot in the head and give it to the dog.
Yeah, there's no difference. If you shoot it in there, yes. If you shoot it there, it'll become an avela. But as far as this, as far as our halachas are concerned, treifa means that if you shechted it, does it's a treifa, so then it's called a treifa. As far as the tumah goes, it doesn't give off tumah. That's not to get to us. As far as our halachas go, to give it to the dog, you can shoot it also. Yeah. But so what was the Morris Kasha? That if the mother was a treifa and at Be'enish Moshe, she couldn't use it for food, so then when the calf is born, it should be still considered muktzah. The answer is that when Yantiv came in, it was not human food, but it was animal food. So therefore, it's not muktzah. And therefore, when the calf is born, you are allowed to eat it. The Gemara is going to be surprised at this. Just because it's designated for animals, does that mean that it should be not muktzah for? It should be not muktzah for humans, and you're allowed to use it for food now. Amalei Abaye, you turn the page. Ashta, Muchan Ladam, Lavi Muchan Klavim, and the Gemara is going to end off. Muchan Klavim, maybe Muchan Adam. If you look at the top and the bottom line over here, we can skip in between. We'll get the proof in a second. But Muchan Adam, Lavi Muchan Klavim. The Gemara is going to prove that if something is prepared for human use, it's not considered prepared for animal use. And it's still, as far as the animal use, it's considered muktzah if it's not any more roy for Adam. And the Gemara is going to end off this kasha, and you're going to say, just to jump to the bottom, Muchan leklavim. I'm missing it over here. Muchan leklavim, having Muchan la'adam. Okay, I just wanted to get that over there. So that's the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara is going to bring the proof in between. The Gemara is first going to prove that if something was designated for human use, it doesn't make it considered designated for animal use, and therefore, if something happened and you can't use it for people anymore, you can't use it for dogs either. And the Gemara make a kal v'chomer. If something designated for humans does not consider designated for dogs, so designated for dogs is going to make it designated for humans. Our case is that the animal was a treifa when Yantiv came in, so it's designated for dogs, and then the animal, the egel, the calf was born, and now it's muchal la'adam. You're going to say, yes, this thing wasn't muktzah because it was always for animals. That's the Morris Kashi. You see the opposite, muchal l'klavim, Muchan for dogs, it's not considered Muchan Adam. What's the right to that? The Tanan, the Mishnah, and Shabbos, we had this earlier. First, it talks about tircha. It's time that you're doing extra work on Shabbos, Yantiv, that if you have a pumpkin that you want to give to the animal, you can't eat the whole pumpkin, you have to cut it up. So it says you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to cut up a pumpkin for the animal, or know that you should eat it. It's not considered tircha. Of course, you're not cutting it off the ground. What's the problem? No, tircha. There's an issue about tircha for animals. We're not used to it. We don't. If you have a home pet, that's also which things are allowed to do extra tircha. Of course, whatever it needs, it could manage to eat the thing whole. Maybe you could bite into it. So there's an issue that you shouldn't be too much for the animal, whatever you can manage. But this is considered that the animal's hard for him to eat it. You're allowed to do it as long as you're not doing any malacha, of course. But how about, and also an available of ne'aklavim. You have a dead animal, you're allowed to cut it up in order that the dog should be able to eat it. It's hard for them to eat the whole animal, to bite into it, so you cut it up and you give them pieces of the dead animal. But the Gemara now also goes into muktzah. This nevela, it's true. If it's a dead animal before Shabbos, Yantiv came in, so now it's a piece of dog food. You have to cut it up, and it's a tircha, you're allowed to do that. How about if it died on Yantiv, on Shabbos? So it seems we're talking about Shabbos over here, but Taisa says we're talking about Yantiv also. So if you have an animal that died on Yantiv, when Yantiv came in, what was it? It was not a dead animal. So it wasn't always for dog food. And in fact, it wasn't a treifa either. It was a regular animal. and it was only for on Yantif. On Shabbos, it's also not only for anything, but on Yantif, it's only for human food, a live animal that's healthy and kosher. So it's only to be shechted on Yantif, and it's human food. And now, if it died, it's not human food anymore. It's an avela. So you can give it to the dogs. And the question is that considered muksa or not? When Yantif came in, it was designated for humans, and now it became not only for humans anymore, only for dogs. Do we say that it's considered mukhan, or is it muksa? Is it muksa? It never was designated for dogs. It was only designated for people, and now they can't use it anymore. Is it mukta to give to the dogs? Rabbi is going to say no, you're not allowed to. Rabbi Omer, Shabbos, so Tosha says maybe because Yantif here makes it a little bit easier. There's a big Tosha, maybe he has difficulties with this. Just for simplicity, we'll just say Yantif over here instead of Shabbos. We'll just learn Yantif, and whoever wants to look at Tosha will see different possibilities. But the Rabbi says if on Yantif it was alive, when Yantif came in, it was alive. It wasn't dead before Yantif. Yantif came in, it was a live animal, and then it died on Yantif. You can't give it to the dogs. Why? Because it wasn't designated. It wasn't designated for food because it was a live animal. And the point that one wants to derive is that it was designated for people to eat, a live animal, a kosher, a live, not a treifa, not an avela. It comes into Yantif Yavakal, so it's only to be shechted. So it's muchal adam. And still we say that when it dies, you can't give it to the dogs because muchal adam, muchal leklavim, lori muchal adam. So that's the more discussion. I'm sorry, muchal adam, lori muchal leklavim. The Gemara proves in the top line that if something is designated for man, that does not make it designated for dogs. And now you're going to say over here that muchal leklavim and muchal adam. The fact over here by the egg. Not the egg. What are we talking about? The treifa animal that was muchal leklavim. It was only to be dog food. And now that they gave birth to a calf, you're going to say that the calf is not muksa because it's muchal adam. It was only muchal leklavim. When Yantif came in, it was only designated for that only to be used by the dogs. And now you're going to say that's the reason why it shouldn't be muksa. It seems to be counterintuitive. Amalei. So he answered him. I think this was Abaya who asked the question. Amalei, Rav Yosef answered. Rabbi of Yosef yes, that's so. It's not counterintuitive. This far makes sense. If something is designated for human use, then it's not considered prepared for dogs because whatever's fit for human use, people don't give to the dogs. They only give dog food to the dogs. They don't give human food to the dogs. So if this thing was only to be used for humans, then it is muktzah for giving it to the dogs. But but people do have in the back of their mind whatever they'll be able to use eventually, even though right now it's only dog food. But if it will be possible to be used by humans, then I have my mind on it. So therefore, what was the case we had? We had a treifa mother that had a baby inside of it. So when Yantif came in, it was only for dogs because the mother could use for the treifa. But he knows that inside of it is a calf which could be born and it'll be used for humans. So he has his mind on it. So therefore, it's not muktzah. So what the Gemara answered, just to zoom out a second, what happened? He spoke about a froach shenola b'yantif, that the chick hatched out of the egg on Yantif. When Yantif came in, it was muktzah. Rav said that it's muktzah because we can discuss it with Ben Hashmoshe. It says muktzah the whole Yantif. And Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan had a heter of some kind of a migu that since when it's hatched, it becomes now mutter to shech, so that issa goes off. So too the issa muktzah goes off. And the Gemara asked, according to Rav, calf which is born as a mutter? Yes, because it's not muktzah, because the Yantif came in, you were able to shech the mother, and the baby would be mutter automatically. And even if the mother's a treifa, and you wouldn't be able to do that, the shech for the humans, but it was only to be shechted for animals at that time, it was muchal leklavim. And muchal leklavim having muchal adam, so the calf that's born from the treifa is also not muktzah. The rest of the Gemara now brings a brisa to support each one. Tani kavasa the Rav, Tani kavasa the Shmuel, B'tem Rabbi Yochanan. You have a brisa supporting both sides. Tani kavasa the Rav, that the egg, what is it again? That chick that hatched out of an egg is muktzah the whole yantif, and it says that in the brisa. If a calf was born, it's mutter. As the Gemara said, the Gemara is going to explain right away because you could have shechted the mother and Hashmoshes. It was never muktzah, and the baby would have been mutter also. But if Rosh Hashanah b'yantiv is aser, this is what Rav said, that if the chick hatched out of the egg on yantiv, it is aser because it was muktzah. What's the difference? How come the calf is mutter and the chick is aser? The calf is muchan, prepared to be eaten with the mother when Yantif comes in, because he could have shechted the mother and everything would have been mutter. So it was food. When Yantif came in, it was food. It wasn't muktzah. But the chick, because you couldn't have eaten the egg with the chick. It was asr to eat till it gets hatched. So therefore, when Yantif came in, it was muktzah. That's a brisa like ground.
Rabbi,
yes, please.
the small Tosfos seems to have a bomb caution. I don't understand the teretz of Muchan va'omed. He says Muchan leklavim havi Muchan la'adam, and he asks, so a froach nami yeh mutar shemuchan leklavim. And it makes sense to kasha. The only answer he has is yesh lomar debinin muchan va'omed. Zayno omed lekalavi. What's the teretz here?
I think the point is that a dog does not eat chick inside the egg. They don't eat it. You give it to him, they're not going to eat it. They'll smell around, then he's going to go away. He's not going to eat an egg that has a chick inside. Rashi seems to say that on the bottom. I didn't see the Tosfos, by the way. I'm just saying what as you said it. The Tosfos Rashi on the bottom of the page of Amud Aleph, he says the last couple of words. So it's not. The facts are. I didn't see the Tosfos, but the facts are that the egg that's ready to hatch a chick, it's not dog food. They don't give it to the dogs, and the dogs don't like it. Maybe that answers the question. And now the Gemara brings also a brayso like Shmuel. Tani kivasha the Shmuel v'yitem Rav Yochanan egel shenolad b'yom tov mutter. That everybody agrees that the calf which is born is mutter because when Yom Tov came in, it was possible to shech the mother, and the kid would be also mutter. But if roach shenolad b'yom tov also mutter. This is the brayso like Shmuel and Rav Yochanan that even the chick which hatched also is mutter. Why is that? As Shmuel answered before, my time was then the first case that the calf is because it was mutter to shech when Yom Tov came in. This is this fancy svara that I don't really understand. That since when it gets born, now it's mutter to shech, and before it was aser, so that heter takes effect. So together with that, also the isser muksa also goes off together. As far as the halacha, I think we pass him like Rav that it is aser, that the efrog is aser. This doesn't. We don't have the application too much, but the pash. While its eyes are closed. Why not?
Yesterday, no.
Right?
You said yesterday, last time we spoke.
We said a machlokas about it. A few pages ago, we said it's a machlokas. Everyone holds it has to be hatched. While it's inside the egg, it's surely has to eat. And machlokas was after it was born, and its eyes are still closed. Is a mutter. So that's not what we're learning here. Tana Rabbana, Efrog shenolad b'yom tov aser. Tanakama says like Rav that the chick which is hatched on Yom Tov is aser because it's muksa. It doesn't mean on Shmuel's opinion over here that it's not muksa because the muksa goes off. That doesn't talk about. But he talks about Yom Tov is aser because it was muksa. Why talk about Yom Tov? On the weekday also was aser because it doesn't have its eyes open. The Gemara before either could be going to Rabbana that you don't have to have the eyes open. Or Tosfos says it could be that the eyes opened up, and even Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov will say sometimes it happens. But if it doesn't happen, he says you're not allowed to eat a chick which did not yet open up its eyes. The fish alone is pat because its eyes did not open up yet. What's wrong with that? Come on, the Tanya, the Rabbi said, come on, there's a person that says, don't eat the sherets. Don't eat, well, how would you translate the sherets? Any translation? A sherets
Either insect or creepy crawly thing.
Okay, something creepy crawly. So don't eat all those things. A bird is not called a creepy crawly. A bird is a bird. But it says that Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov says there's extra pasuk to say any kind of sheretz hashoretz, and he says that this bird, until it opens up its eyes, is just called a creepy crawly. It's not called a bird. So therefore, you're not allowed to eat it until it opens up its eyes. Then it becomes a bird, and then you can shecht it. Okay, and that as far as the halacha on this point, there's a side point in our Gemara. Our Gemara is talking about Yom Tov. This is talking about a regular din of a weekday. You're allowed to eat the bird before it opens up its eyes. So as far as the halacha goes, machlokas haposkim, and there are different rishonim. From the Rambam, they say that it's mutter, and so says the Shulchan Aruch that it's mutter. You're not a shech to eat before the eyes open up. There are rishonim, Tosfos, and the Rosh. They maybe say that it's aser, and the Gemara is also much like that. That maybe it's aser. But the Shulchan Aruch says that it's mutter. You're not a shech as soon as it comes out of the egg. You're not a shech even if the eyes are still closed.
Rabbi, according to the Mandamer and the Gemara, what would be the Metzias if it was Noilad B'Yom Tov, but it happened to have opened its eyes? It would be mutter then. So it's not really totally on when it was Nolad, it's totally on the Metzias of when it opens the eyes, right?
Yeah, that's as far as weekday. But then now as far as the Yom Tov, the question was, is a muktzah. Rav says that since when Yom Tov came in, it was impossible to eat, so it's muktzah the rest of Yom Tov. Shmuel says that now that it became mutter to shech, that's also what the muktzah also goes off. So the relevance of this halacha would be the previous Gemara about Froch Nolad B'Yom Tov, according to Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov, would be when it opens up its eyes. Usually it doesn't open its eyes right away. That's why Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov said, why talk about Yom Tov? It doesn't happen. Tyson says before that it might sometimes it happens, the Metzias happens, that sometimes it'll open up its eyes on the first day. So it was hatched on Yom Tov. It could be that it'll open up its eyes maybe towards the end of the day. And then the question will be, is it muktzah or not? The new Gemara starts. This Gemara will take us till the end, and maybe we'll be able to go on to the next daf. Seems to be pretty early. So, new Gemara. Amar Rav Amar Rav. Beitza im yitziasa nigmara. These are the words. Four words. Rav said 4 words, and the Gemara is gonna try to figure it out. Beitza im yitziasa nigmara. Egg, when it's coming out, it gets completed. Very vague, obscure. We don't know what he's talking about. We don't even know which subject he's talking about. He just says that the egg gets finished when it comes out. What does that mean? What is he talking about? We happen to be in the Maseches Beitza about Yantav, but we don't know what he was talking about. What is he talking about? That the egg gets completed when it comes out. My imitzias enigma. What does it mean to say? What do these words mean? Imitzias enigma. That it gets completed when it comes out. First one talks about a parva egg and a flesh egg. A basari. Everybody knows that egg is parva. It's not. You're allowed to have an egg with cheese. You're allowed to have egg and milk. It's not considered a meat. Why not? It comes out of a chicken. So the answer is that once it's completed, it's an entity on its own, and it's not considered part of the chicken anymore. But if you'd open up a chicken, let's say, and you would have underdeveloped egg, if it's underdeveloped, then it's not called a meaty egg. It's called a fleshig egg. You can have egg which is fleshig. When it's still considered part of the mother, then it's still considered meat, and it's kosher to eat. But it's like the rest of the organs inside. All the organs.
Rebbe,
Yes.
the Chasam Sofer, Rev Rosner brought that the Chasam Sofer has a Shita Yechida. He paskins it Lamaisa that he holds that Jews are not allowed to sell eggs to Goyim because he holds it's Aver Minachai. And for us, we have a Mefarish pasuk Lehatir, but it's Aver Minachai for a Goy.
Okay, but that's nothing to do with the Gemara at all. Mamish nothing to do with the Gemara. Yes, Chaim David, what were you saying?
Eggs should be flesh.
No, I didn't say that. I said that an egg inside, an underdeveloped egg inside the mother, if you shech the mother, you shech the hen, and you find that under the whole chain of underdeveloped eggs, that that's considered like an organ of the chicken. And saying all its organs are considered meat, so too that egg. But now, yeah, right, like what the intestines, everything else, the organs. So the one's talking about, the one's going to talk about a fully developed egg, that you find that in the mother also, a developed egg. So we'll have the sugi a little bit. Here it starts. First, the more things that maybe Rab meant to say that when it comes out, it's complete. What does that mean to say? That it's only considered parv after it comes out. After an egg is born, then it's parv. That everyone agrees to, that a parv egg is, that a born egg that was laid, that a fully completed egg, so surely it's parv. So maybe that's what he meant to say, that it's only considered parv after it comes out. Elaine, means that you're allowed to eat it with milk after it comes out. But he would mean to say that if you found it inside, you shechted the hen, and you have an egg inside, even if it's fully developed, you would not be allowed to eat it with milk. But that's not true. You are allowed to. If it's fully developed, you would be allowed to eat it. Rashi even says that it's fully developed, even if it doesn't have the shell yet. Rashi goes a little bit further. Let's see. If somebody shechted a hen and he found in it completed eggs, you're allowed to eat it with milk, even though it was not born, since it's fully developed. Rashi says fully developed. We would think fully developed means that it's mamish the shell. Rashi says even before the stage that it gets the shell is the last stage. Even if it doesn't have the shell yet, it's also considered a full egg. So that's already details of what stage. But one thing you see for sure, that it doesn't have to have been born in order to become parv. It's parv even if it's completed, as long as it's a completed egg. Makes sense, Chaim David?
Who says that?
It's a brisa. It's a brisa. The Gemara first thought that Rab's saying only when it's born is a parv. And the brisa says even if it's inside it's parv. Not all stages. Rashi it says based on gemura, so that's known as the word gemura. So it has to be a completed egg. I would have thought completed means that it even has the shell. Rashi proves even less than that is also considered completed. But anyway, what do you see? Ella. So that's not Shana Rab. Rab couldn't have meant that because that would be against the brisa. The brisa says that it's parv even when it's born, even when it's found inside. So we're on the lookout. What does Rav mean to say that an egg is completed when it comes out? Ella, emitzias enigma, first white line, muteres la'achla b'yom tov. The aralacha of Yom Tov. Going back to aralacha of Yom Tov. Beis Yishnol of Yom Tov is asa. So Beis Yishnol before Yom Tov is mutter. So Rav would say that it's asa to eat on Yom Tov until it was born before Yom Tov. When it's born before Yom Tov, then it's not a Beis Yishnol of Yom Tov. That's what Rav might have meant. Beis emitzias enigma, it's considered whole, full, it's completed when it's born. Right? What does that mean? That if it's born before Yom Tov, it's mutter to eat. If it's born on Yom Tov, it's asa to eat. That's good. That would make sense. A basic shnal of yontif is aser. If it's born before yontif, it's mutter. But then why is a problem with the diak over here? Because all be the then if you shechted it, what if you shechted the hen on yontif and you have the egg inside? Is that called a basic shnal of yontif? We learned before that it's mutter. So it wouldn't be true to say that it's only mutter to eat an egg if it was born before yontif. It's also mutter to eat it if you shechted it on yontif. You shechted the hen on yontif and you have an egg inside, you would be allowed to eat it. Maybe if it's underdeveloped, eat it together, don't eat it with milk, but it's mutter to eat. And the dinner, for whatever reason we said before, because of Mukhan or because of Achanat Rabbah, Mashki Shazavu, Peres Hanush, all those Isurim, it doesn't apply if you shechted it. And that's the most kasha. Top line, if it's still in the mother's stomach, you're not allowed to eat it on Yantif. You are allowed to. But Tanya, if you shechted a hen on Yantif and you found eggs inside, completed eggs. Okay, I'm not sure why it says Beitz and Gemuros over here. It says you are allowed, even completed eggs, maybe you are allowed to eat it on Yantif because it's not considered that it was born on Yantif. So why does Rav say that you're only allowed to eat the egg if it was born before Yantif? You're allowed to eat it also if you shechted it on Yantif and you have eggs inside. So therefore, the Gemara is going to say this is also not the pshat. But the Gemara is going to take a couple of lines, about 5 lines, to see if this brisa is true. I have a little difficulty over here. Not everything I say might make sense, but I'll just continue because we have to get to the further Gemara, to the next page, and I don't want to get stuck on these few lines. I don't have complete clarity, but we'll try to go through it. Is Rashi's chat? I'll say Rashi. Taisa has big problems on Rashi, but let's try to read it with Rashi. So the Brisa says that it's mutter if you shechted the chicken on yantif and you have eggs inside, you're allowed to eat it, even though Beit Shnal Yantif is also. If you shechted it, it's mutter. We had mentioned this before in the Gemara. The Gemara said it's not milsad lo shchicha to find the eggs inside. But anyway, Rashi says maybe the Brisa is wrong. It's a Brisa which doesn't have any hint in the Mishnah. The Mishnah should have said so if it's true. If the Mishnah doesn't say so, maybe the Brisa is wrong. This is not a regular question. Usually being a Brisa is not as big as a Mishnah, but it has authority. Here the Gemara makes it sound like maybe it's only a Brisa and it's not a Mishnah. So no, maybe it's not true. No, I'll show you that it's true. Hanami Tanina. It is also mashma even in the Mishnah that if you checked the chicken and you find the eggs, it would be mutter. And the Brisa is true. Why? It's our Mishnah. That's our Mishnah, beginning of the Masechta, that if you had an egg that's born on Yantif, Bisham says you're allowed to eat it. It still says you're not allowed to. Why does it talk about the egg? Why doesn't that was born? Why doesn't it talk about shechting it and finding the egg inside? The machlokus is only if it was born. That's when Beis Hillel says that it's aser. Mashma, avol b'mei iman. If you called Sharian, you could be medaytik. Beis Hillel would have said that it's mutter because they only found that it's aser if it was born. Mashma that if you shechted it and you found inside eggs, it would be mutter even quite a Beis Hillel. So the Brisa is right. But you might say that that's not a good deal. Maybe the Mishnah don't be medayik. Beis Hillel is extreme. The egg is aser, and also if you shechted it and you found eggs inside, is also aser. The Brisa just wanted to stress the heter of Beis Shammai that even the eggs are mutter. Even the eggs that are born are mutter. But don't be medayik. The Beis Hillel holds that shechting and finding it inside would be mutter. Maybe also that everything is aser. There's extreme locus that Beis Hillel holds everything's aser, both the eggs that are born and the eggs that are found inside. And Beis Shammai says that everything's mutter, both the egg that was found inside and also the egg that was born. But that, yes, but you wouldn't be right to Beis Hillel. Maybe Beis Hillel holds. Maybe Beis Hillel would hold that the egg that's found inside is also going to be mutter. They're going to be aser. The Gemara is discussing this Brisa. The Brisa in the second line over here, it says that even according we understand the Brisa is saying that even according to Beis Hillel, the eggs that are found inside are mutter. It's only us if the egg was laid on Yantif. But if you shechted the chicken and it was found inside, it's mutter. And the Gemara is discussing, is that necessarily true? Is the Brisa right? So first things thinks that's a right from the Mishnah.
You shechted the mother, right?
You shechted the mother.
She's mutter, therefore the eggs are mutter.
Okay, therefore it's questionable. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. If you shechted the mother, is there going to be a dinner Beit Shnal Yantif? Whatever reason we ask, Beit Shnal Yantif, maybe a Chanah the Rabbah. All the cases that we said, reason why it might be aser. Why does that apply to if you shechted the mother? Does it make is the chicken, is the egg still aser because the Beit Shnal Yantif? So
Rebbe, maybe I'm putting the chicken before the egg, but couldn't we have already learned that out from a ben pikuach by a kal v'chomer or a logical equation?
No, we're not talking about if it's mutatid. It's surely it's mutatid. We're talking about this dinner, Beit Shnol B'Yontif. Whatever reason that Beit Shnol B'Yontif is us, of course it's maybe Rabbanan, maybe a Chana de Rabbah. The more discussed it before, Chana de Rabbah. That's what the more brought it down. That a Chana de Rabbah might have been the reason he should have been gozer and say that it's us even if you shechted it. This was the Gemara quoted this before. I think Beis with Beis. That's what the Gemara brought down this price and it said that's mutter because mitzvah lo shchicha. I didn't understand at the time why is it lo shchicha to find the egg inside. I don't know still, but the Gemara mentioned this, and we're not talking about if it's mutatid. Surely it's mutatid. The question is on Yontif. Is it called the Beit Shnol B'Yontif? So the Gemara is trying to figure out if this brisa is true. So it brings the Mishnah, and it says the dik in the Mishnah that it says only egg is also according to Beisil Mashma that if you shechted it and found the egg inside, it's mutter. The Gemara is challenging it. Maybe the brisa is coming to tell you the chiddush of Beis Shammai, but Beisil would hold that even the Beis Shammai, even the egg is mutter. But maybe Beisil would hold that found inside it, if I shechted and find it inside, also is going to be usher.
Well, Rebbe, wait. According to the way you're learning the sugya, I asked the opposite. What in the world is the havamina that it's nolad if it's in the stomach of the chicken that you have to learn? It's not nolad.
Yeah, the word nolad wouldn't apply. That's true. It's not nolad, but maybe the same reason that Beis Shnol does also should apply to the egg inside. The Gemara before Beis and Beis in the bottom, it entertained this possibility and it said that it should be at least a gzeira, that it should be usher for gzeira. If you can say this is mutter, then Beis Shnol would also think is mutter. Taisus also talks about that even if you shechted it, if you wouldn't have shechted it, it might have been born. And if it was born today, it means it was already completed yesterday. If they have the problem of Achana de Rabbah. So that was two reasons why the egg should be usher even if you shechted it and found it inside. Maybe it's usher on Yantiv. So the Gemara comes back to the brisa. They really, the Gemara superficially doesn't make sense according to Rashi because the Gemara started saying even though it's a brisa, but maybe the brisa is not true, and it makes a full circle, comes back to the brisa again and says, no, the brisa says so it's true. So the Taisus has the kasha that the Gemara is not readable according to Rashi, but that's how Rashi comes out. At least the words that the Gemara comes back. The Mishnah is not a proof, but the brisa is a proof, and it says that it's mutter if you find the eggs inside, and it's not going according to Beis Shammai because Beis Shammai holds that even the Beis Shnol is mutter. The fact that it says that Beis Gemuris is mutter inside, that means Beis Hillel. So. And I'm not sure about these 5-6 lines, but the Gemara made a whole circle, came back that the brisa is true. So if you look at the Gemara, just the zooming out, the Gemara wanted to know what does Rav say. Rav said a statement that the egg is completed when it comes out. First, we entertain the possibility that it's only parv if it comes out, but Gemara said it's not true. It's parv even if you have Beis Gemuris inside. You shechted the chicken and you found the completed egg, it's parv. So what does Rav mean to say that it's only mutter when it comes out? If he means to say the next choice number 2, that maybe if it's only born before Yantif it's mutter, but if it's born on Yantif, it's Aser, and he would have also included that it's no way to be mutter on Yantif. It's only mutter if it was born before Yantif. It's also not true because if it was shechted on Yantif, it's also mutter. That's what the more proof in the brisa. And the Mishnah brisa that if it was shechted on Yantif, the brisa is true that you're allowed to eat the eggs even according to Beis Hillel. Even though Beis Hillel says that a Beit Shnol B'Yontif is Aser, but if you shechted the mother and the egg is there, you are allowed to eat it. So we're still on the search to figure out.
No, they don't know that.
Yes.
And all that is what makes it us.
So we're saying that.
What's inside the mother's.
Okay, the Gemara was discussing possibilities that it should be Yasser because of Chana de Rabbah, but it still could have been Xavier that should have been Yasser, but the Gemara says no, it's Mutter. So therefore, we're still on the lookout, on the search for what does Rav mean to say. He said 4 words and we still didn't figure it out. Beitza, Imitzios, and Igma, an egg is finished when it comes out. So again, we said that this is not limited to Maseches Beitza. We're looking all over the place. Is it Mut? Is it Parv? So we're going further to look out what is this halach all about. So another choice. Ella, Imitzios, and Igma, that is only completely developed, that it can reproduce, that this egg could develop into be a chick only if it was born. But if you shechted the mother and you took out the egg, even no matter how complete it might be, even if it has a shell, but it's not going to reproduce. If you stopped, you shechted the mother before it gave birth to the egg, and you opened it up and you have a full egg inside, it's not going to reproduce to become a chick. So don't waste your time putting it to incubator. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. It's not going to reproduce into a chick. What does the words mean? If it comes out, then it's completely, mamish completed, mature completely, that it could eventually give birth to a chick, could hatch out of this egg. But if it was b'mei ima, if you found it inside the mother's intestines, you shechted the chicken and you found an egg inside, even if it's completed, but it didn't come out yet, It's not going to be able to develop into a chick. Nothing to do with Chashanta if we're talking about Stam. And the Gemara says right away, the mind after me know what's the difference. The Mekachol Memkar business that if somebody sold eggs for the purpose of hatching chicks, he can't give him an egg which he shechted and he found inside the mother. He has to give him an egg which was born, that they laid the egg, because it's not going to give birth if it's not going to hatch into a chick. And then what was the story? Yahu, the Amal Lahu, Beya, the Pachri. What did I just do? Wrong one. Sorry. Here we are.
Manila.
Yeah, Beya, the Pachri Laman. The top line on the next page. Someone was looking, he went to the market and he asks, who has eggs for sale? But he didn't want eggs. He wanted egg de Pachia. Rashi says Pachia means from a live chicken. He wanted eggs that were born from a live chicken. He said, I want eggs. He said, I don't want eggs that were found inside the mother that you shechted. I want eggs that were born. Pachi Rashi says means poya, which means talking like a lively chicken. I want the eggs of a live chicken. So somebody sold him, but he didn't ask for. So somebody gave him eggs of a shechted chicken, and the eggs were inside. Look, it was ready to go. It was completely, it had a shell, everything was ready to go, but it was shechted it before the egg was born, and he gave it to him. And he came to the Rav and he said, that's not what I asked for. I wanted he went to Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami said, yes, the deal is off. He wanted dafka eggs of a live chicken. That means that it was born, not that it was found inside the mother's stomach. And therefore the deal is off. And mekachtos. The Gemara says, Trita, if that's what he asked for, he said he wants Beit the Pachi. For sure it's a mekachtos. The Gemara says, maybe he didn't really want to use it for getting chicks. If he wanted it for chicks, and the fact is that it doesn't lay chicks, so then it's not going to hatch into a chick. So surely it's a mekachtos. But the chiddush was that maybe he didn't really want it to get chicks. He really wanted it to eat. The reason why he wanted to have that it should be from an egg which was born, because those are fresher eggs. Mishum the tzrivan. Rashi says tzrivan means completely mature. Mevushalim. He says that sometimes it means burnt. That means bashul. That means that it was completely ripe egg, so to speak. So if so, it wouldn't be a mekachtos. If somebody said he wanted grade A eggs and you gave him grade B, it's not a mekachtos. He does get the money, the difference back. He gets the money back of how much difference between grade A and grade B. But they're both eggs that are edible. One is better than the other. It's not a mekachtos. The might have to be no. The mace will beni beni. The difference would be that he just has to pay him back the difference in price. Kamash Malon, that is a mekachtos. If he wanted it to hatch chicks and doesn't hatch chicks, that's a mekachtos. I don't want to eat eggs. I want to have chicks. I'm a chicken farm. I'm not in the egg eating business. I want to have eggs in order to hatch chicks. So then, if that's what he meant, so then it's only a mekachtos. But the chiddush is, you might not have thought that. You might have thought he just wanted to have good eggs that are completely ripe because it tastes better. So then it wouldn't have been mekachtos. He just would have gotten the difference back. The mashmalan, that is a mekachtos. So this is the first possibility of what Rav might have meant. This is where we tried three choices. The first two choices didn't go. But the third choice is a possibility. Rav meant to say that an egg only reproduces after it was born. If it wasn't born, it's not going to reproduce. The Gemara Aga brings another story, a similar story, but not the same idea. This is like in parentheses. He came to the market and he said, who has fertilized eggs to sell? The dichra means like a zohar. That means eggs that were of a hen that was together with a rooster, and it's fertilized eggs. Who has fertilized eggs to sell? So they gave him eggs that were unfertilized eggs. Yabule made this after miyara. The word after miyara, after everything, it means unfertilized eggs. They gave him eggs from a hen that was unfertilized. So, and he came back. He said, I wanted to have fertilized eggs. He came to Rabbi Ami. He said, yes, Mekatos deals off because he wanted to have fertilized eggs. He wanted to have, that it should be able to hatch into chicks and the unfertilized eggs that are not going to. So it's a mekatos. Pshita, of course, that's what he wanted. He didn't get it. Now the time, by the come with the different mishum deshmin and tvei. The mate said, you might think when he asked for fertilized eggs, it wasn't after because he wanted to get chicks out of it. He really just wanted to eat it, but he wanted fertilized eggs because they taste better. They're fatter. More, so maybe it wouldn't be a mekatos. He does, of course, he get his money back. The difference between grade A and grade B, but it wouldn't be a mekatos. When he says he wants fertilized eggs, the pasha says he wants to get chicks, and therefore it doesn't work. So it's a mekatos. So we have one possible pshat in Rav. When Rav said that beitza in mitzias and nigmeres, that's what he meant to say, that it only could reproduce if it was born, if it was laid, if it was found inside the mother's stomach, it's not going to reproduce. The Gemara says another possibility now. Ibo Yisema, there's another possibility that I can explain now. My imitzias nigra, imitzias ruba nigra, uchudav yochanan. So now the Gemara goes back to Yantif. What's the din of Yantif? That Beis Shnalda Yantif is Asa, and Beis Shnalda before Yantif is Mutter. What if rove of the egg, right before Yantif, rove of the egg was born before Yantif, but not completely. And the one even gives a case that it went back in again. It could be, sometimes, I guess the nature is that sometimes rove of the egg came out, but then it went back into the intestines. And then it came out again in Yantif. Is that called Beis Shnalda Yantif? Or was it Nolda before Yantif? Just went back in again. So Rabbi Yochanan says that it's mutter. And maybe Rav meant to say like Rabbi Yochanan. That Rav said, Beis Emitzas Nigmara, that he means to say that when it's rove, when rove of the egg comes out of the hen, it's considered completed. And he means it's mutter because it was born Erev Yantif, even though it came back into the stomach. As Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan says that if egg came out, most of it, the majority of that came out before Yantif and went back into the intestines, it's mutter on Yantif. When it gets, eventually, it'll be born. It's mutter on Yantif. It's mutter because it was born before Yantif. And that's what I meant to say. When Rav said that an egg is completed when it comes out, he means that it mostly came out. Or a different version, maybe on the contrary, he meant to say that it's only considered born after it completely came out, and he's coming to argue that if this thing happened, if the rope of it came out and went back in again, it's not going to be mutter. Maybe he meant to say not like a Yochanan, that it's only considered based on if it completely came out, but if it only came out rove, it's not considered born. That's the end of the Gemara for today. And just to sum it up, the Gemara spoke about a dead person on who takes care of him on Yantif to bury him. So on Yantif Rishon, Goyim, on Yantif Sheni, even Jews, and no difference between regular Yantif Sheni or Rosh Hashanah. The same halacha applies to Rosh Hashanah. Now, though he was not even a Beit Session older, we don't pass like him. We pass him that is Kedusha Achas. As far as this halacha, Yantif Sheni of Rosh Hashanah is just as lenient as any Yantif Sheni, that Jews are allowed to take care, do malacha, mamish, not only if it's necessary, even if it's unnecessary, like you could wait to Matzah Yantif, or even for Tosafot, like Hadassim and extra shrouds, even though it's not mamish necessary, it's also mutter. Kechol Shavir Abanan, Yantif Sheni, even Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara brings a story about Erev Tavshilin. Are you allowed to make Erev Tavshilin on Thursday? When it comes down Thursday, Friday, 2 Yom Tovim, are you allowed to make the tonight? So regularly, if you're allowed to, because one day is one of Shachol, so you can make them the first day on Thursday, you can make the Erev Tavshilin with the tonight, but on Rosh Hashanah you can't, because we pass the Kedusha Achas, so if you miss the Erev Tavshilin, you missed it. The Gemara talks about if that if it hatched out a chick on Yantif, so it's muktzah, because when Yantif came in, it was not edible to anything, so it's muktzah. There are those that will mate, Shmuel Rabbi Yochanan will mate because of a migu, that since the Heter Shchita comes on, so also the muktzah goes off. But since you don't pass like that, we pass like ground that it's usher. If an egel, a calf was born on Yantif, so surely mutter, because he could have shechted the mother ben Hashmoshes also. Even if the mother was a treifa, it could have been shechted for the dog, and therefore it's considered muchen for the other also. So the calf that's born on Yantif is also mutter. The Bible is a rice to each one. Probably, I don't really know. I said he passed him like Rav. I think he passed like Rav. That the Froach is Aser and the Egel is Mutter. After that, the Gemara brings the regular. Then even in the weekday, are you allowed to shech the chick if it did not open up its eyes? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says no. Sheretz HaSharetz Al Haaretz. And the Rabbanan say that it's Mutter. Machlok Zapos K'mo Yipaskan, like the Shulchan Aruch says that it's Mutter. Maybe the Gemara says that maybe the Gemara passes that it's Aser. The last thing was we had a member of Rav that a Beitza is completed when it comes out. We didn't know what he meant. As far as being parv, it doesn't have to come out in order to be parv. It's parv even if it's inside, if it was completed. It's also considered parv. Only in the earlier stages, underdeveloped. When it's completely developed, so then it's parv even if it was shechted and you found the egg inside. And as far as the being born on Yantif, so the Gemara says that not only if it was born on Yantif, if it was shechted on Yantif also, it's mutter, because the price is correct, that a chicken that you shechted on Yantif, and you found the egg inside, it is mutter. It's not considered based on Shnal Yantif. And more with two possibilities. He just come to say that an egg only could come out of it only if it was born, but if it didn't go through the birth process, if the egg was not born, you shechted the chicken and they found the egg inside, it's not going to reproduce. And the other possibility, it has to get to make a chomemka. If somebody says he wanted to get the reproductive eggs, it has to be that it was born, not that it was shechted and found inside. And the last thing was Rabbi Yochanan's din that if it came out mostly, and before Yantif, and it went back in again, then it was born on Yantif. Is it considered a beit session older of Erev Yantif and it's mutter or not? And Rabbi Yochanan says that it's mutter, and two versions of Rav. Did he mean to agree or did he mean to disagree? Nashikach, everybody, and Aksiva Tova, good Kibben start to everybody should be of Zeros Thomas and tomorrow, Bez Hashem, tomorrow everyone but Matzah Yontif, so Bez Hashem will have Matzah Yontif throughout the year will be one daf behind. Aksiva Tova.
Siva Chsima Tova. Rebbe,
Yes, please.
I have a shtickle kasha on Rashi here, because in the Shemos of Shifra and Pua, it's a nurturing cooing sound, I think, and here it's cackling.
Here it's what?
Cackling. It's a chicken cackling.
It just means it's a lesson of talking. You find this word any kind of sound making, you find it like that. Sound making. That's what it sounds like. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.